I'm having a hard time sleeping. So I figured, what better way to help make me fall asleep than to push a bunch of pixels. So I'm gonna hope that there we go. I think we're live now. So I'm gonna, there we go. Yeah, we're live. All right, cool. So you know the drill. Like, subscribe, share, so folks can check out what we got going on here. Down in the description down below is my Twitter. So follow me on Twitter. I just posted there that we're live, so that's a good way for you to keep an eye on when I'm live and what I got going on. Illustrations I'll be posting there and all the yada yada blah blah blah. There's also a link to DMsGuild on there, which has a demonstration of a number of the books that I've already published. So you can read them cover to cover. All the design elements are mine. I mean, like all the mechanics are my idea. I hire writers and editors to help me take it from being like chunks of ideas into narrative and good Wizards of the Coast coding, so that it sounds like 5e sounds, so that people can grok it when they read it. So we are. This is another book that I'm building, and this is the first one I've been building, like literally cover to cover. So like you saw me in the past. God knows how many streams linked down below. Is the in command system, and in command has the core mechanics of doing vehicle combat at different scales. So that's what introduced us into taking it from squads of individuals. Like I'm gonna the initial question was, how can we clean up the action economy so that Conjure Animals lets you attack things bigger than you're supposed to and have them survive the experience, so you're not just burning ninth level spell slots on 64 dogs. And it's like, that's a great threat against a dragon if you can keep them alive somehow, so how do we do that? And that's how we developed the squad mechanics, and from squad mechanics we transformed the squads into just one machine, which is Infernal War Machines, and then Spelljammer came out. So we had the opportunity, I should say, to expand that into not just 10 by 15 or like 5 by 5 or 15 by 20 foot Infernal War Machines that drive around at 100 miles, at 40 miles per hour. And now we can build something that's like 400 feet long. It's a flying boat. Boats are pretty boring. They're like the Sent into Avernus, but like with less opportunity to have any kind of agency in using them. They're more like just floating platforms that you can kind of push a little bit. But both Infernal War Machines and Spelljammers, you have incredible speed and maneuverability for you to be able to zip into some place, lay some damage, and get the hell out. So if you're working against stationary targets, like the playtest that we did over the weekend, or on Thursday, I'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, so what we're doing, because I'll ramble for a while, and hopefully, God willing, that's going to burn my battery out so I can get some sleep. Because we're going to be back in the morning working on the Crystals of Mabar cover. We're working on the lettering for that, and once we finish the lettering for the Crystals of Mabar title, then we get to finish that out. I'm expecting that to be done on Tuesday. So I'm hoping that I can just burn myself on this, get some sleep, and then when I kick back up in the morning, I've got a whole day. I can just drill into working on the Mavar book cover, and I'm going to relish that opportunity. So this is the book cover that we're going with, and I'm in the process of, here's the Star Moth that I've built. We have to detail the wings yet, and I need to do filigree and like detail work for the thorax. It's sporting this badass slashing ram. In the system that we built, you can have melee siege attacks are like rams and wrecking balls and grappling claws and tentacles. Those are siege melee weapons, as opposed to like a mangonel or a ballista being just siege weapons or like siege ranged weapons. So there's a different mechanics there, but yeah, piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning rams. You can just take the Star Moth. That's about a 50-foot blade there. So I think that monster has a base damage of 2d6 times 10 damage when it cleaves, And if you're a Spelljammer pilot in here someplace, you can use your attacks each round. If you close distance and then you worry about the air envelope, potentially, like in this case, this nautiloid has a very different gravity direction than the star moth. So it comes in, it grapples at it, and it's at a different angle. If it can grab it and roll over when it's pilot check, like a grappling check, it can scuttle all the gravity in here. So that's not the right button. So you'd the word is you could tilt it, right? If this guy takes control, then the moth gets scuttled. It gets its axis tossed off. Everyone inside takes falling damage from having their gravity tossed in the fight. And now it's grappled, and they can start dealing constricting, bludgeoning damage each round. Each tentacle that latches on, doing D4 times 10 damage. Each tentacle requires a separate, either the pilot controlling all of them one at a time to slowly just snake a grip onto you, or you can have individuals inside of the ship acting as gunners or augurs, and they can control 1 or 2 tentacles each. And so you can have a whole bunch of them at a time. So the DM can decide how many of these things does he want to come at you at once to determine how difficult of a fight it's going to be. So it's, if you get hit with all these things, that's 8d4 times 10 damage that it's dealing, which is a crap ton of damage. It's 320 damage at most. So that's enough to cripple most ships. Luckily, that's the max damage, and you'd have to do it all at one time. The pilot that's getting grappled by these things can be making pilot checks as actions and attacks to try to break free. So there's this wrestling match going on of trying to grip and trying to get away so that you can get the hell out of there and then start firing on that guy with, you know, your ranged weapons, get him at range, because they're way too dangerous up close. But at the same time, if you start equipping ships, kind of like Outlaw Star, if you're into that anime, super cool. You can equip these ships with grappling weapons, grappling arms, like the scorpion, obviously the tentacles there. But this is just a slashing ram. It just does damage, and when it does damage, you can then attempt to scuttle. So it's like if you were to hit with a sword and then use that sword to grapple the enemy, it would be an attack roll, and on success, make a opposed strength check or dex check using athletics and acrobatics to resolve the grapple. And if you're successful, you've got them gripped, and now you can use your blade to do damage automatically each round, just the base damage. So that's effectively like this. If he can get that blade into you and he can scuttle your gravity, you lose control of your ship, so you can't defend yourself against the attack. So he's automatically hitting you. Pretty fun stuff. So that's what the book is about, right? Doing like space combat, space grappling, moving at incredible speeds and sizes, and just filling in a little bit of more mechanical gap with a scaling system that people, I'm finding in the playtests, appreciate. So we're building the cover, and so right now, I think what I want to do is I want to fix the tentacles. Since we rebuilt the star moth, I want to get the tentacles in place, and once the tentacles in place, we'll know how we need to prioritize the lighting on the filigree on this, and then we can go back to the nautiloid and finish up the, like, we can put like pirate markings and stuff like that up here and like resolve this grid to be something more fluid and more sinister. Get some filigree in the disc here, get some filigree here, get some marking along here, and then probably some spikes or something on the tentacles, and then this will be good. So this is like this is probably like maybe 4 hours away from being done. Maybe, yeah, the nautiloid itself is probably 4 to 6 hours from being done for me to be to the point where like I'm good with it, just let it go. I think for the star moth, I have probably another 3 hours of work in it. But that's assuming I get these tentacles in place. So that's our current task. And by God, this is sleepy music, isn't it? I'm questioning my motives here, because that is really sleepy music. It is what I was asking for, but I think I want something a little bit more punchy. I'm kind of enjoying the stream, so I think I want to stick around for a while, even if no one shows up and says hi. You know, even if I'm doing this all night and just rambling at you guys in silence like a rookie would. I'm enjoying it, and this is how are we looking down here? Wow, I've burned out on some of these songs. Yeah, we'll start there. All right. That is the first time I've experienced burnout on a song on Epidemic. I'm pretty happy about that. I've been listening to him for a year. That's not bad. I'll have to swap in some new stuff. So let's see. We're going to the tentacles. We're going to the... Let's look at the back tentacles first. We're going to blank out the dark tentacles. And hey, man, how you doing? Look up the Blasphemous OST. If it's licensed music, I can't right now. But thanks for the reference. I will check into it when I feel safe and secure. Hey, man, how you doing? It's good to see you. Here's how the Star Moth is coming around. I was just talking about how it's just a giant blade. It's just like a giant space dagger. It just slashes shit if you get too close to it. Hornetica would love flying this thing. Yeah, because it's just a giant cleaver. So fun. Hey, games. Hey, you know what? It's okay, man. I appreciate the enthusiasm. So you're certainly welcome at my table whenever you're able, and we're running something. So. Cheers, dude. Yeah, hopefully this will help put me to sleep. So we'll see how far that goes. Actually, yeah, what I want to do is here. That's easy enough. Tomorrow is going to be tomorrow morning. I'm hoping to get like maybe 4 hours of stream in for the Crystals Mabar cover. I'm thinking I won't do the whole thing on stream, but I'm going to put a good chunk of time into it tomorrow. And I believe between the time I have available tomorrow, which is literally all day, the gal's on a retreat thing with her company, so I'm flying stag this weekend, which means I'm going to push 1 billion pixels, and then sleep, and then maybe eat food, but possibly starve myself all weekend to hyper focus the art effort. And she'll be back Sunday, so I will feast with her for dinner Sunday night. And but I could change my mind anytime. Screw you. But right now I'm thinking it's a great opportunity for me to drop my insulin to nothing for a good 48-hour chunk of time. So I've been without food since noon. So by the time I see her at 3 o'clock on Sunday, I've gotten a good 48 hours without insulin in my system, and I should be feeling pretty stable. So. And then maybe we'll have like some salmon or something. Nom 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 fish. So, I mean, no big surprise, but man, Seattle's got some good fish places. I freaking love living here. Everything, just the food is just ridiculous. If you like seafood, dude, Seattle is like, it's in the name almost. So good. I found a bad sushi place though, but only because they were using subpar quality fish. It was obviously aged. It was beautiful presentation though, just like pure artwork, like cut into roses, and there was some serious skill that went into that sushi, but the stuff was going bad. So this was about 7 months ago. So I'm going to blame the pandemic. They're good people, though. Their chicken teriyaki is something I'd fight children over. Oh my God, the char on their chicken is legendary. Obviously, I'm hungry and I'm tired, so my body wants fuel to keep the motor running. This is what I was hoping for. This was always the plan. I'm happy. This and Crystal of the Mabar, man, I am loving that both of these products Crystal's is in edits right now, and Stuart is smashing it. So that is probably going to be out of edits and into page layouts before this is finished with rewrites and goes into edits. So that probably means this isn't going to publish probably until January, if it's going to take into mid-November to get the edits and the final text resolved ready for layouts, which is fine with me. This book, the system crushes face. It is so fucking good. So I never mind the amount of time it takes for me to put out something, because I really believe in the work that I do, and God willing, I'm the first person that kind of stumbles into these ideas, so I get to kind of plant a flag with them. But it's going to be a killer book it's going to be gorgeous. It is going to be a gorgeous book when it is done. It is so going to be just worth leafing through. I'm hoping that the quality of it just by itself is going to compel people to want to actually purchase it, so that the sample stamp isn't across every page in the preview, so like they'll actually want to buy it because it looks good. That's kind of how I felt about the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. I think there's a link down below on the DMs Guild. It's a book of warlocks. Like each guild in Ravnica has its own warlock subclass, and that is a book of them, along with like color themed pacts, pact boons, as well as like 30 invocations. It's a badass book. I am really proud of that one, and the crew that I had that worked on that are just freaking smart people, good guild people. It's a fun book, and it's one sale away from copper. I am happy about that. It's been a slow grind. It's been a hard lesson about hyper specializing the topic of a DM's Guild book if you anticipate gaining sales, especially like if you rope in somebody to help you in the project. Like, it needs to make money just out of respect for the time that they invest in it, which is why I'm a little bit more cautious now about how many people I bring onto a project, because I want to keep it kind of tight, so that the money that we do make, that it's enough of a chunk that like we can afford to have sales and still feel like everyone's respecting the price point and everyone's on board with the mission. So I think I'm doing a good job with that with this particular project. But yeah, the Pacts Patrons of Ravnica, there was 5 of us on that one, and it was a $10 price point for 10 patrons and 5 pack boons and like 30 some odd invocations. And 2 years ago, that when Ravnica was hotter, that probably would have smashed. But we fired it up, and then some folks got some COVID because that came onto the scene, and we had some pipeline difficulties, believe it or not. So it ended up taking a year to get published, and it was fate. But it's it's a gorgeous product. I love the book, and I love everything in the book, and I would DM any of that stuff like in a heartbeat. Like, I would love for people to run my warlocks using my color mana system. It would be. I know people are buying them, but a lot of people just buy mechanic books who's like, oh, this is interesting. They just like support the effort. But I've been fortunate enough to bump into a couple people that have shouted out at me that have actually been using the books that I create, and that they like it, and that it works well, and that it's fun, and that they feel that they have the liberty to tweak it and like bend into whichever optional rules that they like and make it their own. And that's like, what more could you ask, you know? I've been ignoring my stream because I can't read. Hell yeah, dude. Oh man, yeah, absolutely, dude. If you guys end up coming up this way, let me know, and we will have fun. Oh, no kidding, Mabar. That's badass, dude. Hopefully, you know, I think Stuart's doing a really great job reorganizing the information, and making it digestible for DMs. We've had a couple DMs that have been running it, and so far they like how it reads, just like they like the raw ideas of it. But like one of them took suggestions from the book and ended up making like the research laboratory a little differently to fit the needs that he wanted to do. Which again, that's awesome. If we've built it well enough that you're like, oh yeah, I get what this is doing, I'm going to do it differently, then we did a good job describing what it is, because you've been able to figure out, I'm going to do it different from that. Thanks for the idea. But they still run with it, so that's cool. I'm happy about that. I used to tear apart the old first edition adventure books that I had from back in the 80s and build those into 5th edition stuff for I haven't done it with 5th edition, it was 3rd edition. I would take old 1st edition tournament modules and convert them into stuff for my 3rd edition team to fight through at like 23rd level. You know, like once we start getting to epic levels, we started doing ridiculous shit. So I would just grab random dungeons that I'd played with before, that I was familiar with the terrain, as it were, and just make it ridiculously dangerous. It's just fun. Epic level play in 3rd edition was like, in 3rd edition there was no reason to stop at 20th level at all. It was crazy fun. I don't get that same vibe from 5th at all. I'm currently at the 17th level of my 4th campaign that's ran from level 1 to 20 in 5th edition, and I just don't feel the need to go past 20th level with 5th. Like, I really feel like the game's really expressed itself at that point, and even without really exploring the impossibility of like being able to slip between the molecules of a wall of force if you have a high enough escape artist skill check. Like if you roll a 98 on your dexterity check, you can slide underneath a wall of force and get onto the other side of it. And it was like, how do you do that? You can't really, but you know, in 5th edition, it's like I don't really feel like that level of challenge is really like, I feel like people get tired of 20th level by the time we're there. It's like, yeah, we can already just destroy everything. What's the point? So like, you may as well just let that epic stuff happen. Just keep your DC lower so it's like 40 something instead of 90. Like cut it in half. Like if it's supposed to be a 98, make it a 50 instead. 20th level characters can hit a 50. If they really want to hit a 50, they can hit a 50. It's so funny. My hold on, I want to catch up here. Let's just gonna see the group to make characters. Or wait, this is over. Oh yeah, right on. This should be this. I reckon this is going to be out of edits. I want to say before November. That might not be the case, and I'm not sure how much revision Stuart's going to come back with. He might be like, yeah, I chewed it up and here's what we got to spit out, fix it. And that could end up being a month of work between Andy and I, so hard to say. It's like nothing is anything until it's something. So that's kind of why I run multiple projects at the same time, so I can bounce back and forth. I feel guilty about not giving any specific project like 100% of my attention, but I really like that when it's what I'm working on, it has 100% of my attention. So that feels good, it's that's just what feels right. I want to feel bad about it because I feel like I've overcommitted overall, but that's just because there's so much to do. And it's like when you get back from edits, you have to do the page layouts. And that's going to really set up how I can frame information on the page about like proximity to the map. How do I need to break up each map inside of the adventure so that you're not flipping back and forth? It's a PDF, right? I mean, no one prints this crap out. So it's going to be a PDF. So I have to make it nimble. Like you have to be able to navigate through it. And stuff that I talk about has to be like right the fuck there. So figuring out how to build the thing properly. I'm probably gonna have to the research facility, the underground research facility. I'm probably going to have like a general map that'll fit on a page and have the numbers of each room, and then each page is going to be another room. So when you look at the map, I can build the map. So if you click on the room of the map, it'll take you to the page where I describe that room, and I'll have that room be the only thing on that page. So I can have a central illustration. The center of the page is the map. And then I can have like the different points about the room that are of interest, 1, 2, 3, 4 points about the room that are of interest. I can have all that topic information framed around the picture in orbit in proximity to where it is inside of the room. So that's a page, and I can flip the page, and now you're on the next room. So I can just key out the rooms. I can have next room, or like lead to the hallway, and then I can have the hallway. And we're talking about the hallway. So we have all this information broken up into, the number chunks like you do areas. It's just going to be a matter of, once we get it back, like what's going to be the best like font size. And we're talking about doing a landscape format instead of portrait, so it'll be wider than it is tall, so that it fits on a movie screen easier. So like you can pan it down to this size, and you can still see a lot of your Roll20 space. Well, you've seen the Let's Plays. Well, you have. Tyler, but I mean, no one else that's watching this stream, unless they've been in the playtests, know what I'm talking about. But like I have Roll20 over here is half the screen, and then I've got the Discord. I've got the Discord over here, and I've got I'm just gonna do this. So here's your screen, right? Well, everyone's screen is probably more like this. So if I make it a portrait size page, which is about like that, if it's an envelope size, right? So if this is your envelope size, most people that have good vision can most likely be able to make it like, I'm on a 30-inch screen. So most people are probably going to be on an 18-inch screen, or even on a tablet. If they're doing it on a tablet, it automatically fits, so shut up. But if you're using it on a desktop, you can have the page about this big. You can have your Roll20 information back here, and you can have the scrolling number down here. So this is where your map is at, and then you can have your Discord stuff down here. So you can have the different faces of the people that are on the Discord with you here, and that's how you can have your screen when you're on a desktop and you're using the word I'm looking for is a PDF here, Roll20 here, whatever your VTT is. And then you get your Discord back here, so you can see the light up of the faces of who's around with you. This is a good setup for a desktop. If you're doing live action, people sitting at your kitchen table with you instead of the virtual tabletop, then you're probably going to have a tablet in your hand, and the screen will automatically just accommodate. It's easy enough to accommodate a portrait size on a monitor. But also a portrait too. But I'm thinking landscape is the way to go, because this is how I build my game. So. That's what makes sense to me. I don't know about anyone else, but yeah. So that's my thought process there. So if we were to do that, so when I'm building this out, right, I've got the opportunity to have 1, 2, 3 columns of information that you can have on any given page, and so I can. We can do like this. We can have here's a room. So we have our grid, right, and the room is say like this. It's got a door that leads into the hallway here, and then here, and then you got another door that leads into another hallway here. So that's like basically the room. And so you can talk about the room. You've got 1, you've got 2. You've got 3 points on this room. So here's the room, here's the information about the room. Here's point 1, and here's the information about point 1. Here is point 2. You got your information about 2, and then you got literally your 3 and your 3 here. So you got your 3, you put your information there. and then you can have like, I don't know, whatever, like talking about locked doors, or like down here we can have an illustration of like a weapon rack, because this is where in this room there's a weapon rack, so you can do that. And like so then, you know, on the next page you come down here and you get the next page, and then you get the next room. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That's how you build it. So that's the thought process for the Crystals of Mabar. So that's why we're considering doing a portrait orientation instead, or a landscape orientation instead of portrait. So we'll figure it out once we get it back. I'll have an opportunity to play with it a little bit and decide which one makes the most sense for us to go with. But that's, you know, that's part of it. So once we know how we want the page laid out, like what angle the page is going to be at, then we get to start seeing how much information can we actually place on the page and make it legible for people to have it be functioning in that space on your screen while you're playing the game. So basically, how much information can we realistically put on that people are going to be able to read at a glance using a tablet is what we really need to get to. So, having said all that, blah blah blah. Right now we're building tentacles, so that's the path. Anyway, so yeah, we're working on the Crystal Mabar cover tomorrow, and so that probably won't actually be ready for layouts probably until November. So I think both of these books are coming on at the same time. So right now I'm just doing what I know I can do, which is the book cover to both of these, as well as the. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Maps is the other thing that I know I can do, and then like vignettes that I know I'm going to use, like the different type of plants in the Crystals of Mabar, for instance. Probably a good idea. I've already done a lot of those, so probably a good idea to use those. So that's easy enough. I've got those taken care of. Like a vignette illustration of each of the creatures or named characters in the game, more of an illustration of the NPCs that are leading you to the hook, like the sheriff, Professor Horcrux, you know, whoever, whatever, all those dudes. Sneebles from the Gatekeeper, the Oracle from the Silver Flame, the Church of Silver Flame, Paladin Order, the Holy Order of Assassins. That's what I'm trying to say. They're good guys. They're bad guys, but they're bad for good. And they're the wet work. They're the wet work team that goes in and takes out people that create undead or when lycanthropy. You know, they're like the exorcists with extreme prejudice. So that's one of the hooks, and those guys are badasses. Yeah, so all these different hooks have different people that are involved, like the family members that you find dead in your village when you get invited to hang low for a while. Yeah. Those are fun illustrations that are probably going to be relevant. So I can, once these covers are done, I can do that. Here over in the Spelljammer, I'll be rebuilding the Zaraxis, the Citadel of Zaraxis. I've got an asteroid field to illustrate into a 500-foot map scale. There's another asteroid field at the 50-foot scale. Yeah, one at the 50-foot scale, and the other one I think is at the 1 mile scale, as well as the 500-foot scale. So that's when when you get ambushed by the Nyogi Death Spider after exploring the derelict Nautiloid in the first chapter. God, talking is money on screen. Talking is hard. Obviously, the sleep deprivation is kicking in, and maybe the sweet embrace of slumber will come and claim my heart soon, old man. Old man. I hope you've got another 30 years left in you, old man, because you got some shit to do. It's gonna take a while, and it's nice that 6E or 1D&D or Unreal D&D, whatever the hell it ends up being, who cares? It seems like it's compatible enough with 5E that it's honestly going to be pretty easy for me to convert all my shit over. like the theurgy book that I did, the ability check spellcasting ritual system. All I gotta do is probably just swap things out to like D20 test, and like maintaining control of a ritual while being attacked by eldritch horrors is a D20 test against the difficulty class of the ritual you're attempting, and then it just folds back into the rest of the text. Probably like a day's worth of edits, and that'll be something fun I can actually do on stream. So we're actually looking really forward to going through all the books that I've made and cleaning up the language according to 6e. That is actually, see, if you build, I thought it was great listening to the Instructor Boy talking about how difficult or how channels seem to implode when they do Kickstarters. And I'm like, if you start your channel as a proof of concept for Kickstarters, it's not going to be a big surprise to your populace, your followers, that, hey, my Kickstarter got funded, let's do the layouts now, because it's just what I'm freaking doing now anyway. Like, this is a DMsGuild book, but in the future this could have been a Kickstarter project. So that's where I'm hoping my world ends up going in the future. So it just seems like it's smart for me to just build my stream around book production. And if I end up talking about whatever and ends up going all haywire like Taryn's channel goes all the time, then that's just because I've got a shitload of people that are having fun, and in the end I'm making money. So it's either me being productive or me being yakety smackety, and in the end it's all good hype. So that's kind of why I'm kind of cautious about opening up my own Discord. It'd be great to have a Discord to be able to have a building conversation about, hey, like what's the 6e mods going to probably look like with color mana, or I know it's going to be forever before I'm able to get back to the Elemental Key Monk book to build out the the Prismari and the word I'm looking for is other monks, like the Prismari Way of the Four Elements. That I wanted to build out some NPCs, or like build out the rest of the monk subclasses into color mana half casters, so that so that you can take the monk as a quote-unquote spellcaster into Strixhaven, so that they can benefit from the college background that grants the spellcasting features and the familiars and the stuff like that as a monk, and you can be focusing on doing Mage Tower as like your warrior scholarship, because you're a monk, right? You're not like you're not a druid or something. It's not like you're there to learn. I guess you could have like Way of Peace and Mercy or whatever, could actually get into Witherbloom, but that would be monk that has a half casting using the Witherbloom list, as well as whatever half casting spell list we come up with for like off the primal list or whatever it is that we're doing. We'll figure it out. We can do that conversion stuff. That's in my pipeline, but it's like not a very high priority compared to these other projects. So like, if I get a stream going and I get enough people that are following around and having fun with this stuff, then I can get a Discord and a Patreon channel going. And I can be like, oh yeah, real quick, here's that Prismari guy we were talking about. I'll build it out into a full thing someday, but here, take a look. I'm kind of like squatting in Terran and Trent Monk's Discord channels. Basically sharing my ideas and doing streams and stuff there, because I don't want the added responsibility and invested hours of moderating my own channel and being responsible for that stuff, on top of answering questions and doing stream and still building out. Like, if I hang out, if I'm squatting in other people's Discords, then I'm earning my keep, and my keep is talking about this stuff. So, and it's cool that those channels are hip with me being there doing that stuff. So, you just engage the community and try to be helpful to people, and that's why people are okay with you commenting on stuff, like adding your own comments, like your own content, not comments, your own content. There we go. I think that is pretty good. in the design of sphere. It's the quality of monk martial arts like invocations. Yeah. I've been talking about monks are basically a martial format of warlocks forever. Like, they get tongues, and they get astral projection. They get greater invisibility, so they get access to these spells at higher levels. It's pretty easy to just convert monk into a warlock and make invocations out. Like, instead of having a pact boon, they have martial arts, and that eats up some of their spell budget. But yeah, it totally makes sense. I originally built monk as a martial warlock when I first started creating the 5-color mana spell point variant rules, but I decided to back off because there's always time to come back to monks. But it's a great idea, so fully support it. I always like seeing other people like have similar ideas to mine. Like, I used to get threatened by it, but now after so many books, I realized that the stuff that I'm thinking about, no one else is thinking about. So I don't really have to worry about it. So it's like, I can see other people's stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, that's badass. You think about blah blah blah. Have a conversation with it without having any intent behind it, and that's really important to me. I totally get, like, when Taryn's like, don't talk about, like, don't build stuff about stuff that I'm still building because I haven't figured out in my head how it's supposed to look, and and it's like, I get that, and I build systems, so I kind of come at things from like a different direction. It's like the martial powers book that I built. Like, I would love somebody that's like, oh yeah, I could totally build a Boros Reckoner using this system, and here's how I do it, bloody blah. It's like, because I build systems and I build like mechanics, and I build them for as many classes as you can possibly cram into using them. Which is a lot different from like designing character classes or subclasses, because it's like, if people are going out of their way to create the character narrative that they want, then that was my goal. Congratulations! I'm glad I provided you mechanics that help you achieve the narrative, the mechanics of the narrative that you wanted. That's awesome. So, and there's like no limit to how people can apply those things, and none of that is skin off my teeth. It's really different. But at the same time, like, I don't build classes, I don't build monsters, I don't build spells, I don't build magic items. I build them in my own games that I DM, but I don't spend my time in producing books like that. And I know that they're like really fast to turn those around. It's just, I keep wanting to do like these bigger and bigger, like these big ass projects. It's like, I don't know. It's like the project itself is art, I think that's what it is. God, thank you for letting me have this conversation. I've really been bashing my brain against, like, why don't I want to approach this more industrial? Like, why don't I want to build a business out of this? So I got a fuck ton of stock art I can be packaging and selling and making a lot more money a month right now than I am. My art sells. So if I have more of it, I'll sell more of it. And I've got like 100 pieces I could package as stock art and hand out. But I'm realizing that the reason I keep fighting that is because each book to me is art. The idea is mine. The development is mine. I hire the crew that help me make the words go smart. And they're awesome people. So I build these cool friendships. And then they pass it back to me. It's like, here, make this look good. And I do. Then I get to go in and I get to do the layouts. I get to do the cover art. And I get to do all the interior artwork. I get to do the page dressing and the corner filigree. And like, all of that is like, that's me. That's me and my team. And so it's like like sculpting, Like, this shit takes for fucking ever to finish. But I love it. But the problem is that it has like a price tag, I need to build myself into a place where it's like I keep going back to Kickstarter, but God, if I can eventually build up enough of a fan base that like gets what I do, like that, then and like appreciates this stuff, then I can be like, I got this Kickstarter thing, I need $5,000 to make it worth the amount of time that I'm going to spend on it. And maybe I get 20 instead, but it's just a PDF, It's not like I have a lot of hardcore stuff to offer people. I'm just building PDFs. Quick, easy. I do everything digitally, and so I cater to my audience. And I get I get print on demand. I really do. I've been in a number of print on demand published books during the 3rd edition season. I've got a stack of RPGs that I just, they were awesome in 3rd edition, but I started doing character artwork after 3rd edition because I just wasn't getting paid the money that I wanted. And I was getting to the point where I was getting paid around $400 a character illustration, but I fucking hate it. I hate doing people's commissions, man. It's like, God, like, people really fall in love with their characters, but there's no way. I can't emotionally attach to these characters the way that other people do when they're asking, hey, I want you to breathe life into this character. They mean so much to me. And it's like, I hate your character. I don't want to spend 20 hours on this. I appreciate that you're willing to spend $400 on me, but I hate their face. I don't want anything to do with them. And like at first I loved it. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. But the more of them that I did, the more it's like, oh my God, why am I attracting all these really, like, I never took a commission that I was like, I feel comfortable with this commission. I like this commission. I will do this commission. But after a while I stopped because everyone that I got, I'm like, I am not comfortable. Like, it wasn't like any like kitty or anything like that. It wasn't anything creepy ever. It was just, oh my God, like, your backstory is so weepy. I can't handle it. Like, the drama that you're bringing to my table is horrible. I have to walk away. And I can never go back to character illustration. So I'm like, well, crap. What am I supposed to? I like it and paid to do artwork because I'm going to have to do artwork. The muse won't let me not do artwork. She will not let go. I have to do it. So I sit here and obviously she's making me do it. So it's like, well, obviously there's supposed to be a price tag attached to this because, value. And then it's like, well, I'm never going to get paid what I want to get paid to do the artwork that I want to do. So I need to start making the bits that I want to put the illustrations inside of, instead of hoping I think your project is cool and I'm proud to be a part of it. And I like the art direction that you're giving me. Like, that was becoming more and more dicey. So I'm like, I should just do my own book. Just make a book I'm going to be proud of, that I can put artwork that I'm going to be proud of to put in. And there's no page limit. There's no limit on how much artwork is going to be on that page. I can just do whatever the hell I want with it, organize it the way that I want to organize it, and give myself my own direction. Or maybe eventually people will commission me for a book I haven't even built yet. And they can commission me for character. But that just leads me to that character path again. I'm not... See, like, that's like the only incentive to do a Kickstarter. It's like, yeah, oh wow, I can have my own illustration, right? Because it's just a PDF. Anyway. Did your one just drop? Words go smart is... Did my one just drop? I don't know what that one is. What do you mean? No, it's still streaming? Uh-oh. I still... Did my one just drop? Oh, okay, cool. We're still going. Phew. I thought my feed got killed. I don't remember what I was talking about. I am on hard ramble mode here, guys. I swore to myself that I would be careful about being on stream when I am ridiculously tired, because I have literally no idea. I'm like completely unfiltered right now. It's risky. I feel like I need to take a drink of water. This is Slap Happy Phil. Cheers. I have invested way too much time on this tentacle because I am scraping by. I love tentacles though, man. These things are fun to do. There we go. Chip, chop, cherry, cheru, cherom. This song is dripping with "I Am Epic," but I actually like it a lot. It reminds me of Caribbeans. It's obviously a Caribbeans rip-off song, but I love it. So I will have a Thursday night game. In the future, when I need to play test stuff, I'll play test it on Saturdays, but I am going to run a stable 1 to 20 campaign, 3-hour shift, Thursday nights, like 5:30 to 8:30 PST is like 8:30 to 11:30 Eastern time. So that will happen. I will do that. I have playtesting that needs to happen in I want to say January. It's either January. It could be as far back as March for the Ravnica Hex Crawl campaign, the random generator for Undercity structures, as well as the Color Mana Land Hex Crawl Rubble Belt system that I streamed previously. I'm 2020. I want to have that published in 2024, so I need to start slow cooking it in next year so that I can get it built out properly and get enough. There's going to be a lot of random tables. I'm not sure who I'm going to bring in on that one, and I'm going to I'll fish around for an editor, but. That's going to be a 2023 into 2024 project, and I think probably March is when that playtest is going to fire up. But I think I want to have after this book publishes, I'll have an open path for me to run a Spelljammer. I don't know. I'm thinking a Spelljammer campaign because it makes use of all the mechanics. Like it'll definitely be a fighter ship, infernal flying machine campaign, like with infernal fighter ships, as well as a Spelljammer carrier for you guys to control as mobile base. But I'm not sure quite yet what the framework is going to be. It might be. Jeez, oh jeez. I may end up doing the Eberron Tears of Sybaris mining operation campaign, where the characters are workers of various roles in a dwarven asteroid mining operation among the Tears of Sybaris in orbit around Eberron. They're massive psionic crystals, like thousands of miles in size. So if Spelljammer's in the Eberron campaign, various ships like Sarlona is going to have a shitload of investment in having starships getting up into that crystal space, because they can summon ridiculously powerful dreams from Dalcor to just take their empire to the next level, like to a galactic level. So there's a Light of Xeraxis tie-in that I can do through Dalcor and Sarlona, using Sarlona as Xeraxis instead of the elves. I think that'd be a really good conversion. So I think I want to run a 1 to 20 campaign doing that, where the characters start off with a a trade ship, a cargo ship, a Spelljammer cargo ship. That's like a 400-foot long ship, so it can take a shitload of damage. It can easily kill weapons on it to protect itself, because it's going to need to, because the Dalcor summons these abominations and Dalkir is free out there, so there's Illithid and Beholders, just like Spelljammer would expect you to have, but you can have all these different type of nightmare demon creatures, like the Tyrannid plus the Necrons from Warhammer 40k, and your team is a salvage operation team or a mining operation team that you're trying to you go to a crystal the crystal is going to have nightmare creatures resonating inside of it, or like phase spiders or other astral or ethereal type of creatures. So there'll be geodes. So you have to go into the geode, secure the area to make sure there's no nightmare creatures in there. And then once the crystal is secured, you can grab it and anchor and pull it away. And while it's being pulled away, there's pirates and enemy organizations that might want to take that. Sarlona may just wait for a salvage ship to come by and just loot it from them and take the crystal. But the end goal would be you would need to having little fighter ships clipped onto your cargo ship. So if you are attacked by pirates, you can have your crew drop down and then launch off Battlestar Galactica style and go attack the pirate ships, or maybe they're on Pegasus, or who knows what they're going to be on, but they could be on anything. Spelljammer, fuck you. And so you would have those things attacking you. So you've got little fighter ships that you can attack each other's ship from, and of course there's boarding, so you can drop down to the 5-foot scale. But these crystals are huge. They're in orbit. They're the size of asteroids. So some of them will have circular or will have spherical gravity, and others will have plane gravity, depending on how big it is. But it's a dungeon, so we can randomize a dungeon, find out what's inside of it. We can have different guild plot lines and governmental plot lines running on the side, so that you're not just running random dungeons, but you would essentially just be running a random dungeon of a different size. It's like, this is a 50-foot scale dungeon. We need to bring our mech with us because it's going to be big threats. So you're going to drop into monkey suits that are like, gargantuan size infernal war mech, and running around. You've got like 4 docents with you. So they're operating subsystems to launch lightning damage at things as siege weapons while you're maneuvering your mech suit around. So the more docents you plug into the data systems that you have inside of a mech suit, the more crew you have operating weapon systems or auger systems or light skip teleportation systems, whatever it is that you want to build your Gundam out into. That's phase 4. Phase 1 is Spelljammer. Phase 2 is Infernal War Machines. Phase 3 is Armies and Kingdoms. And then phase 4 is War Mech. And that's going to build off of the Eberron Numenera campaign that I ran back before I started playing 5th edition, where it was a bunch of they were raiding bunkers of Warforged AI that didn't know that the last war was over. They didn't know. They were cut off. So it was this still active bunker of AI and all sorts of different war mech and warforged that were defending their post like they're supposed to. And if the team could infiltrate into the facility somehow, they either brute force their way in, or they could stealth their way in. And if they stealth their way in, they could get into a social challenge with the AI, hack it, convince it that they're good guys and that they want to give them a purpose, and then recruit them into their war against hell. And such a legendary campaign. Those guys are badasses, fucking just badasses. Oh man, they were like a vengeance paladin, and a lore. It eventually converted to 5e, so it was a vengeance paladin. And a lore cleric was the Warforged. So whenever he used his lore ability, it was him tapping into the AI net he knows that all Warforged have access to. That's how he could charm things, dominate stuff. He could tap into the AI Ethernet that all these things worked on the same level with each other. So all constructs were on the same Wi-Fi network, basically. So if Warforged knew how to hack the Wi-Fi network, you could take control of golems or tanks or ships. You can convert AI into being non-physical allies that can provide skill checks for you. It's a fucking cool campaign, and it would work great as a Spelljammer crystal mining operation. I love that. So that's probably after the Crystals Mabar publishes, and it typically takes me about 15 months to go through a campaign. So if I build that out into a 1 to 20 campaign, starting with, you're just grunts on a pirate ship or whatever, operating inside that environment, like that's the setting, is the crystal asteroid belt. The characters will, the players will decide, what role do they want to play in that ecology, and then they'll get a ship, and they'll be off to the races, working at the 10 mile, 1 mile, 500, 50, and 5 foot scale of adventure with all these books that we've been building. And it'll be the first campaign that I'll be 1 to 20 campaign that I will build using this system for 5e, folding Light of Xeraxis into it. So it'll be Light of Xeraxis is 5 to 9. I'll just drop pieces of Light of Xeraxis into the 1 to 20 campaign. So easy peasy. I mean, spoiler alert. But yeah, I can totally do that. Super fucking easy. Barely an inconvenience. It would be it honestly would be really easy. And each week it gives me an opportunity to work on it. I can do the nuts and bolts of it on stream, of like building the encounter and like the challenges I want, and it'll be a completely spoiler fest. So my players will obviously want to keep away until, I'll never tell them if it's safe or not. So there'll be a backlog of information about it that they can, after the 1 to 20 campaign is over, they can go back and they can watch the year-long stream of me going through and building the campaign. How fun is that? I think Rogue Watson does that with Rime of the Frost Maiden. I'm thinking I am going to do that. It's a ridiculous endeavor, but this is something I can build a campaign out of. Like the Endless Day Groundhog campaign that my work team is playing through right now is going to be coming to an end. They're level 17 right now, so it'll be. I mean, obviously it'll be next year. We're going into Q3. We only play for about an hour and a half each week, so it's a very slow campaign, and it's been running for 4 years, but it is coming to an end. And our arcane trickster specifically asked if they can do a Spelljammer campaign. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a dungeon delve campaign using Spelljammer, like I just talked about, and then my Saturday or my Thursday night team can use some of the same content that my lunch team, my work lunch team is stumbling into, so I can recycle content between both campaigns. And just because it's going to be for a campaign toolkit on the DMsGuild. So I'll need to have all the details and stuff, and having 2 campaigns and 2 different styles is probably a pretty good way to go about it. Their campaign is going to be everyone is 6th level and they never gain a level, but every time they succeed at a mission in the Crystal Belt, they set objectives for their guild, and if they're like helping a specific nation, what objectives that nation has in each season, they can have the opportunity to advance one of those as a guild or as a kingdom. And then on the micro level, on the character level, they can choose which tasks they want to achieve to help further their guild's goal. So I was like, we need another ship. So we either need to steal a ship, or we need to strike a bargain at this price point. Which way do we want to go with that? And then that's like what your characters are specifically doing that month during the lunchtime adventure. Meanwhile, on Thursday, the team is spelunking a crystal that's been cracked in half, something like that. Like that's the adventure that you guys are going on, and there's like 3 different factions that are circling the area that are trying to lay stake to the claim. And if you don't get a piece of it for yourself, the mission was a complete waste of time, and you fail, and your resources are wasted that season because you couldn't succeed at securing the stone. So your characters take that kind of thing on personally themselves, and because that's like you absolutely have to secure that resource. So like that's a character thing to do. It's like if it has to get done, If it cannot fail, send the characters to do it. Everything else you can just resolve with an ability check at the end of the season. But that's how you fuel your adventure in a guild campaign like that. And just making it Spelljammer is just icing on the cake. So kind of excited. But after that gets flowing, then we'll be playtesting the Rebel Belt campaign for Ravnica, which is where I concede the rebuilding all 10 of the guilds using the renowned resource mechanics that we have in the Guilds and Kingdom, Armies, Guilds and Kingdoms book that will be close to edits probably by April, I reckon. So that's kind of where my thought process are going. I think I need to really just be done with that. Yeah, I really need to be done with that. I'm not, but I need to be. I spent an hour on that tentacle because I've just been yammering. Because that's how tired I am. Hey, if you're enjoying my rants, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, buy my books that are linked down below. Oh, my books are all 100% preview. You don't have to buy them if you don't like them. I recommend, honestly, if you aren't sold immediately on them and you don't buy them just right away because they're awesome, I recommend if you need proof, use the sample, run a campaign level 1 to 20, ask me anything that you need. If anything's not obvious, I'll have a revision next year. I'm recoding it. Opportunity for me to improve if anyone has any comments or need for clarity that I should include with the book. But yeah, run a 1 to 20 campaign with my stuff, and if you don't love it, at least you got a 1 to 20 campaign out of it. If you do love it, they'll buy it, and tell other people to buy it too, and become an enthusiast, and waste your time here with me. And follow me on Patreon. See, if you start off by shilling, I guess the entertainment is shilling. And I mean, this is a development channel, right? I mean, like, I am painting book cover for something I am selling. The rules I designed, the words I helped write, the layouts, all the things. Like, I'm building a book. We are building a book right now. This is the book that we are building right now. It will be published. You'll be able to read every page because it'll be 100% sample. So it'll be everything that you've already seen me walk you through. It's just going to be in a distant third. I guess it's second person. A distant second person conversation that I don't get to have live with you. But there'll be all of these. There'll be all of these streams in history for you to come back and visit. I'll obviously have a link to these in the product page. So what's great about this is that, like for example, I think there's a link to the Spelljammer mechanics in the description down below. I think so. It's just a read-only document. You can't copy and paste anything. It's just read-only, and it's a Patreon link that it leads you to, and the Patreon link says, hey, this is the thing that I'm working on. Here's a link to the open playtest content. But when it publishes on the DM's Guild, that Patreon link can lead you to the DM's Guild page where you can read cover to cover 100% the sample. So you can still read along with it, and you listen to the thought processes and like how this thing works, because I've been building all these different adventure scenarios here and stream with you guys. And when I go about building Descent into Avernus and Light of Zaraxis, when we actually build that out, I will go through that same conversation process here while I'm building the map assets. So Light of Zaraxis is included in this adventure, so you're gonna get that. That's like on the way. Like, the next thing that we're doing in this book is either making tokens of each of like the 25 ships that we have listed or whatever, or it's going to be remapping the Citadel of Zaraxis so that it more cleanly fits in the 50-foot squares, so that you can do a bomb raid on the Citadel if you want. So there's not a lot of logic in that Citadel. Those elves are honestly, they're pretty dumb. Like, there's like this war happening like right over, like a couple miles over there. that like the entire fleet of Zaraxis is attacking your characters, and then you're just like, if you kill enough of them, you just casually land, and everyone's like, oh hey, how you doing? There's like this thing going on. Just like, no, didn't you just like slaughter half our navy? Didn't you just render us completely defenseless against Nyogi? Or is that somebody else? You're like, oh no, it's cool. It's not a very well structured adventure. So forgive my snark, but it enrages me. Didn't you guys? Wasn't that? No. Is that? Oh, I get it. I get it now. Good dir. Sometimes I'm super derpy. Oh, that's right, because I'm exhausted. That's why. Because I'm utterly exhausted. Excused. How am I gonna do that? I'm gonna bring it in, buddy. Let's bring it in. Let me go to here. Nice. Good framing. I am pretty happy about that. Get a bit bigger. Blah, bigger. 12:30. It's not late, it's early. I've probably got another hour, maybe less. We'll see. We'll see what the muse wants. But I suspect I've got another hour left of me pushing pixels around with these tentacles. And then I think I'll have sweet sleep. And I'll get up in the morning and I will log in again with you. And we will work on lettering for Crystals of Mabar. We'll finish up lettering tomorrow. And once the lettering is finished, then we get to dive into the middle of the page and do the skeleton, do the spirit and undead stuff that we were talking about last time. That's gonna be sick. Sick. I think it's gonna be sick. I'm gonna do a little bit of it to make sure it looks the way that I want it to, and I may end up scrapping it, but I think it's a worthwhile experiment doing all that undead creeping out from the darkness. I think that's a good centerpiece. So we'll see if it's true or not, but and I get to recycle some of my Pacts and Patrons art, so kill me. I'm a cheater. When you do all your own art for your book, you get to steal stuff from yourself, and it's totally okay. It's like, oh yeah, this piece totally fits here. Like, I've used my Selesnya Druid more than once. I used it in the Color Mana book as well as the cover art for Nature's Ally. I think those are the only two places I've used it so far. And of course, it's stock art that people can use. But train of thought. Oh yeah. Lettering. Lots of lettering tomorrow. Yeah, so we can get the lettering done, then we can get the 6 characters into the illustration, and then we can get the undead to fill up the empty space, and then we can we can continue with just cleaning up, just polish until I'm content, and that is very possibly Tuesday. So that'll be exciting because then I can switch over and finish cleaning up the maps, that each of the region maps. So I get to walk through and I get to talk about those again for a while. And once that's done, also the regional map, so that you can see where in Karnathi this is located. That I may actually do first because that is super close to done. The bunker map, I think, is pretty much done. I think I have some more work to do on both the black and white version of the cemetery and the sunken fortress. So I think I'll have those. Yeah, I'm going to do the overhead. I'll do the overland map, or the regional map, and then I'll redo those. And then there's going to be color versions of them for Roll20 or other VTTs. So there'll be a black ink only version for print on demand, and there will be color version for VTT. I have no idea how long it's going to take for the VTT. I have literally never done a color dungeon map before. So the work that I've done in Crystal and the Bar is the first I've ever done. I've done overland maps, like all my stuff, like in my own D&D campaign, everything's just chicken scratch. It's like stick figures and like a circle is like, here's your room, and like a line, here's the hallway, and like it's garbage. And I use theater of the mind almost all the time. Like I use theater of the mind as much as possible in my lunchtime game, because they only have an hour a day. You know, so like we got to crack through combat, dude. But on the Thursday night campaign, I should be able to. Boy, that's gonna eat up production time actually building out nice assets. I might just leave shit assets, but I should be able to. I'm trying to figure out when am I going to have production time for the ideation and production time for the assets I need for the adventure. So that is I haven't worked out the logistics on where that time is going to come from. Like what projects do I need to sacrifice to get that up and running by Q2 2023? And it might be asking too much. So I might actually have to push that back to 2024, which I am not happy about, but we'll see. I don't want to overcommit myself to a team and then end up realizing I bit off more I can chew and can bail. Because if I'm going to commit, if people are going to jump on board for a 20-level campaign with me, I'm going to damn sure make sure I stick around for it. So say we all. So say we all. That tentacle didn't take much longer to do. Hey, welcome back. Did my one what just drop? I gotta grab some water. I'll be RB. My spell point sorcerer project's pretty far along as well. I put that on hold because of the crystals and the Spelljammer stuff. It's not a very high priority in comparison to that, considering that I'm going to be rebuilding the color mana core mechanics anyway. I can safely hold off on doing spell point sorcerers until it's ready, until I'm ready to do that book conversion. But boy, oh boy, I freaking love spell point sorcerers. What a cool freaking project. Super fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what Unreal D&D will bring to us for the sorcerer. I'm hoping that the mage packet is next, because I want to see more than anything else. I want to see the sorcerer and I want to see the warlock. Because those are my favorites. I'm playing a Rakdos Goblin, a Rakdos Kobold Artificer Battlesmith in a 4th level campaign right now with one of my friends from Arizona. That was my he was my running mate. Like he was it's Draxus is like we both learned 3E together. We figured out how to optimize 3E. We both built up from level 1 to level 32 and stayed in Gestalt at 32nd level until I moved to Seattle with my gal for opportunities. But he's been in some of my campaigns online. And why was I talking about him? Oh yeah, he's running the campaign. It's his campaign. This is the first campaign I've been a player in literally like 7 years. It's been ridiculous. So it's really fun to have that opportunity, and he's a great guy. So I'm loving it. But I love Rakdos. I'm using my red and black mana. I'm freaking loving it. It's super fun, and the Artificer is just a fun class. I mean, sure, it's OP or whatever. It's super versatile, which is what's so fun about using color mana, because I have most of my spells fall into the red, but I have some key spells like False Life and stuff like that. That's black mana, and so people are like, Artificers are really OP. It's like if you're using color mana, breaking up your mana pool into different colors, so you can only cast spells if you have corresponding colors with them. It's a self nerf that has a lot of flavor attached to it that makes super powerful spellcasting classes have to actually like make decisions and have consequences for deciding poorly. Like if you stock up on white and green mana because you expect to do a lot of healing, but you end up wanting to cast, I don't know, some blue spell from clerics. I'm pulling a blank on the blue spells that first level that clerics have, but wizards have much more of a problem because there's like every color, all 5 colors are like delicious for first level characters to take. So that's a much more significant difficulty, but it's great to impose. Like you've got marshals around you. It's like if you're like let's just admit it, artificers are really fucking strong. So of all the classes that it's fun to self nerf yourself with by making your mana complicated is the Artificer. It's like a great cure to it. Boy, I'm really selling this 5 color mana stuff. There's different tiers, right? You can narrate casting spells in the colors of your that you've chosen, like black and red are mine. So when I cast a spell, I can just use spell slots, but since I know that False Life is a black spell, I narrate it as using black mana and it's a black spell, so it does black spell stuff as I'm using a spell slot. Otherwise, it's identical to 5e. Super easy, like Wizards of the Coast styled. Like if Wizards of the Coast committed to color mana, that's as far as they would go. Like that's their narrative flavor. Be what you want. And it works. It's super simple. All you need is a list of spells with colors and just narrate it appropriately. It's like you can decide, like, well, this is a blue spell and I don't have any blue mana because I'm playing Rakdos. So you either can decide that, well, then I'm not going to take that spell because I'm being hard-nosed about it. Like that's hardcore spell casting. Or you could be soft on it where it's like, well, I'm just going to allow this spell to use black or red or maybe both or whatever mana because it's just narrative flavor and it doesn't actually have any mechanical impact on the game. Which again, that's kind of how Wizards assumes that you're playing Ravnica and Theros, as opposed to like creating a color mana system with mechanics. It's just, if you want to cast Find Familiar and you're playing Selesnya, that's white-green, super easy. You just call it green and you get a guy. But if you're playing, like, say, Orzhov, and you want your Find Familiar to be like a little undead spirit thing that, mechanically it's just a beast, but narratively it's like a little skeleton cat or something maybe. It's a Find Familiar, you can change it whenever you want, so go away. But it's like a spirit thing. But Orzhov is white and black. So like Find Familiar, you would use, say, white and black mana to summon a spirit creature as your familiar. And so Find Familiar isn't a black spell as written, but there's no reason why it can't be. And when it's just flavor text, easy peasy. But if you start breaking this thing up into your mana pool, it's like I want to play Orzhov, and I only want white and black mana, and I want to take spells that require green and blue mana. Then one of the rules that you can use is, well, I'm going to use an extra, like I'm going to memorize that spell twice, once to know it and then once to program it in the color that I want. So again, I'm self-nerfing myself. Not only am I only able to cast it with, say, black mana, I then have to have black mana available, you know? So that's sort of like if I want to cast it as a standard action. You know, obviously it's a ritual which doesn't cost any mana, but for you to be able to, you know, make it show up and disappear at will, like to summon and unsummon it out of your hand, as it were. Then you spin a spell slot on it. So you burn a point of mana, you cast the spell, and now you can summon, and while it's summoned, maintain a point of concentration on it, and then unsummon it. Or you can disconnect the concentration, and now it's what's the word I'm looking for? You can just rely on the pocket dimension thing. Anyway, yada yada. But like, you know, like it takes what, like an hour to cast that as a ritual, or you can spend a point of mana and get it as an action. So that's fun. And no, you just have to maintain. I don't know why I was talking about that. And you don't have to maintain concentration to put a familiar in its pocket dimension. I don't know why I was saying that. Oh, it's because I'm exhausted. Yay! I've got, like I said, I'm yammering. You can't trust me when I yammer like this. I ramble and I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about. I am definitely getting tired, which is great. That was the whole point of doing this. Putting in the hours and hopefully getting exhausted in the process. I can feel Phil's sleepy eyes. God, this book is going to be so cool. Such a cool book. I love this thing, man. I feel so blessed that this idea got channeled through me. Like it could have been anybody that created these things, and it gets to be me. That's I'm really honored about that. I don't want my muse to ever feel that I don't appreciate her. Once I know where the tentacles are in place on the ship, I'll know where the highlights and the heavier shadows need to be on the structure of this. I like its look overall. Like I'm like, look at that. This guy's getting fucked. This guy's getting fucked hardcore. I need to like take like a big. I need to take a big chunk out of this guy. That's what I need to do. Why is that? Where's my dealie? Oh, that's why. Yeah, there it is. All sorts of scribble marks. Good job, Kearney. No, there's that. There's that. Oh, that's right, because it's... Anyway, whatever. I'm getting lost. I need to take a... I should probably take a chunk out of this nautiloid shell over here as this giant scimitar is just cleaving through it. What freaking fun is that? Oh my god, this guy's just getting rocked. I think I need to make... yeah, I really need to make sure that those tentacles stay clear so that we can all revel and enjoy in that moment. So freaking cool. That nautiloid is having a bad day, dude. So freaking funny. Need to make sure that yeah, it's plenty visible. God, I love that. I love that. This change in this Star Moth was just the best freaking decision ever. So freaking fun. What a weapon. God damn. Just, who wouldn't want a fleet of that? Just destroy stuff. Dogfighting is cool as hell, man. What a cool mechanic. Jeez, what a cool mechanic. I'm going to have something nice for you guys next week. That is for damn sure, because there's just too much cool stuff going on here. I am looking forward to you guys tearing hell apart. Continue the fun, please. I put a lot of bodies on that map. I'm not sure that was a good idea as a DM, because I don't. There's a like how much combat can people really enjoy before it gets kind of boring? Like, I need to get to a point where you guys can upscale to 500 feet and just start eliminating square by square threats in that area with just airstrike superior power. That's why I want you guys to get those catapults. I figure by the time the team secures the catapults at the Eastern Front, you'll be ready to not be engaging in combat anymore at the 50-foot scale, and panning out the 500 feet with that much siege weaponry should allow you to start just operating at the 500-foot scale. And once you're operating at that scale, that's what triggers the battle with Zariel, because you're now operating at a large enough scale that you threaten her ship. So that becomes the challenge that she needs to eliminate you. That's her job, to eliminate threats at the scale of 500 feet. Threats that are below 500 feet in scale, like 50-foot scale combat skirmishes or smaller, Zariel doesn't care about. It's too small. It's not a threat. Once your army amasses to a 500-foot square area, it's large enough that it can start pushing down Bell. It can start securing areas along the waterfront of the River Styx. It can cut off. It's a significant threat. So once the Blood War amasses army sizes that are doing 500-foot scale areas, that's what triggers her to go over with her Spelljammer blade. Not unlike this thing, it's vertical instead of horizontal like the starship. Star Moth is horizontal. The Zariel's flying blade, the blade hangs underneath the ship, like Tron style, very much like Tron. You know, like the enforcers in Tron, those ships that came along and they go and then squish your character. Yeah, those things. That's basically what Zariel flies. Super cool. Super cool. I loved Tron as a kid, dude. That show was sick. That was so cool. I think I was 6 when I saw Tron. Legendary. So just like, oh god, it blew my mind. This tentacle needs to be thicker. Blah, 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 thicker. Oh, my heart is surging. Something's going on. I must be purging something. I hope I'm purging something. I hate to think that I'm hanging on to something, you know? Like, if it's pushing out of me, like, if the emotion wants to come out of me, like, to release for me, shouldn't really try to hold on to that at all. Like, it wants to go. It's like a cat. Emotions are like cats, man. You just gotta let them go. Let them get the hell away from you if they want to. Like, you've got, like my emotions crawl up my chest and come out of my neck. So, it's like when I start feeling emotions clawing their way up my neck, I'm like, oh, whoa, this kitty's gotta go. And then I release the emotion and move on to, hopefully there's some revelation that goes along with it in the process. But, it is not my place to revelate. It is my place to experience. So that's fun. But I can feel cats clawing up my chest right now. So that probably means that I'm going to be done shortly. But I just want to try to fix this tentacle before the cats get away from me. That was a brutal pop in my neck. That might buy me a little time. Man, Battle Mech are going to be so freaking cool with this system. By God. You start off in your own little lion, the size of an infernal war machine, and then you make Voltron at the 50-foot scale, and then you go smash Spelljammer ships. Are you kidding me? GTFO. Megas XLR? Hell yes. Like, Megas feels like a 100-foot by 100-foot, like a size large at the 50-foot scale footprint. Like, that thing is beefy. Yeah, that seems the proper length. It's good positioning too. Yeah, it's good positioning. Okay, it's not the right color though, so that's fine. And then I just want to make sure I like how this guy is doing. I suspect let's up that smudge power. Let's erase a bit here. Yeah, my brain is starting to shut down, so it is almost sleep time for me. Thank God. I hope I get some sleep. I would be happy with like 6 hours of sleep and back to work. Like I would be okay with that. If I get 7, I don't think I want to go with that. Like I'm going to have an alarm. But I think I'm going to set the alarm for 7 hours. And if I get 7 hours, great. If not, whatever. I can get a good solid 8 hours on Sunday. Tilt this a bit. I feel like the right thing to do. God damn, it's gonna be cool. There we go. That feels good. And let's see. I think I can finish these off and then go crash. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the way to do it. Like that. That feels good. Trim that down a bit. That's great. Where we go, buddy? Gong. 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 Thank you. Yeah, that'll do big. But it doesn't, does it? Hold on. That's not bad. It's not done, but it's the point is it's not bad. That one is horrible though. I think that's probably the worst tentacle in the lot. You're the ugly duckling, buddy. You gotta get fixed. Oh, I like the idea of that. That's fun. I bet I can pull that off. There it is. And then we'll do something cheeky like this. You know? So it looks like it's hooking in from so bad. Like it's hooking into the wing. And like we can do something like something like this, where it's tearing through the wing. Like this moth is gonna get just. It may have gotten a good hit on that nautiloid, but it has just stepped into a literal Hydra's lair. That is bad news for this ship. Like this is gonna be one hell of a freaking fight. Yeah, something like that, you know, like little rips and tears and shit like that. I can just, so cool. It's so cool. This is such a fun painting. Oh my god, it's so fun. Oh god damn, such a freaking fun painting. All right, I gotta erase all that because that was just theoretical stuff. I'm not ready to have this guy deleted, for instance. But I know that position works now, so that's a keeper. That's a freaking great position. But it's looking a little thin. I think if I beefed it up a little bit, I could actually rein in. How awkwardly long it appeared to be by thickening it up a bit. Thick. when I design adventures, it seems that what I do is I build out like regions or like conflicts. I imagine like a standoff sort of thing going on between two factions, and they have so many resources, and they can hit each other from like each of them has a vulnerability like this and this, and each organization has the ability to hurt the other by doing that or that. And so I just start running the scenario of this is how the characters become aware of the conflict. This is what compels them to pick a side in the conflict, and whatever they want to do to solve their own puzzle, and what resources they hope to get from it is up to them. And that's a format that I've used a lot. But in prep, what it does is it allows you to flesh out like the first 3 or 4 steps of a scheme or a plan or of an escalating conflict. Like if you know the beats of the conflict and the people that are in the conflict and roughly what kind of resources they have available to them, then you can with endless practice, because it's an art, right? It'll never get good enough. But it doesn't take more than a few scenarios for you to start thinking about what kind of like to have your own idea about like what's the natural course of things that's going to happen with this if the characters are complete gooseberries and just run off into the wilderness to go kill gnolls or something. It's like, dude, you're supposed to be working on a mine? It's like, no, we want to go cut down trees. It's like, all right, well, this is what happens. And just that you have the entire arc of them screwing around the woods to figure out what happens to them in the woods when this thing happens without them preventing it. But you can keep offering them seeds of, we're now in phase 2 of this operation you're completely ignoring. I love this bakery that you guys have made. It's very kitschy. But Mordor, they've assembled an orc army now. So their next phase is going to be they're going to start marching. That could actually impact your bakery. Oh, well, let's draw swords. So it's like, okay, great. Now we're back into the mill. And then you can start using the content, but it's advanced because they were doing all this tomfoolery. Let's all admit the shenanigans pillar is by far the greatest pillar of adventure in D&D. I revel in like a good DM will hash out like everything that they think that they need to be able to do a few combat encounters or social encounters or have some exploration ideas in mind, and just like seed that stuff in just enough to get the shenanigans going. And once the shenanigans are going, your job as a DM is like, oh yeah, all you gotta do is just do call hits and balls. So strikes and balls, that's the word. And just let them figure it out and create their own mess, and just let the schemes run, and just glance every now and again to see how does this fit in with what's going on in the world. How is this shenanigan going to clash on that? And that could just, like I said, it could just lead them back into the mill. So you want them in the mill, but you can have 2 or 3 different mills running at the same time if you're pretty good at improvising, and that just takes time and practice. But once you can start weaving in multiple different ideas into each other, eventually it just gets silly and fun because you really don't care what the hell is going on. You just want to, like, a lot of times the only thing you need to do in an adventure is like let how absurd their idea is actually play out. It's like Rick and Morty. Like, just take a premise and then just like think it through, that next step past where they want the adventure to end for you to stop thinking about it. Like, that's what all these mechanics are about, is like that next step. Like, what happens if I do throw a walrus out into space, and how fast could it swim? How long is it going to live for? Stuff like that. Like, we hashed all that stuff out in the Combat and Exploration book for Spelljammer. It was super fun. Super fun, and it makes sense. So, it's worth your time. Stay tuned. Hug your mother. And he goes quiet again. If I was more confident with curvature and curved lighting effects, I could get this done in probably a few well-placed strokes. But that is, I'm not good. So I do this push smudge thing that gets me the slippery sort of texture that I like, and it's a lot slower than just like finding the right color and just like laying down a streak of it. It's like, I don't know how to do 20 of those and make it look right. But in the end, it feels like the same amount of stroke marks. Like my method lets me be sloppy and then try to clean up the slop. So there's a lot of rough organic stuff going on in my pieces, and I don't mind letting the architecture of the piece show through how it was built. So I don't know what I meant there because I'm losing time space. I could have literally been talking. I literally have no idea what I was talking about. I'm gonna have to go back. So that is a good indication that I should be finishing here very shortly. If I'm blinking out in conversations, I really don't know. I don't think I was talking about anything that is like admitting to a murder or something. Not that I killed anybody. But you know, if your mind just kind of rambles, it can end up talking about all sorts of embarrassing crap. It's a shame that I feel like there's things I could be embarrassed about. I think if I were to ask the muse to grant me any wish, it would be why not be comfortable with being flawed, so that you can lean into it and figure out how being weird is cool. Like, if you're always apologizing for how weird you are, you're never going to figure out what cool things can come from you, because you're not letting yourself own who you are. That feels pretty good. Hey Deuce? What's up with you, Smudge Cleese? Oh, my eraser, is my eraser not at 100%? Oh my god, my eraser's not at 100%. I couldn't tell. What a nightmare. I have no idea how much stuff I thought I erased. How freaking fun is that? Alright, well hey, that's me. That is me tired. For sure. God, jeez, I want that architecture to stay open. So maybe I need to... maybe I need to like have this guy like way the hell down here and out of the way. I am open to you fitting wherever you need. I just like the idea of not blocking all this architecture back here because it's gorgeous. I don't know what to do. Hey, Muse, why don't you tell me where you want it? Is that what you want, kiddo? Something like that. That is enticing, isn't it? All right, let's get to that. This moth's day is just getting worse and worse. That is a lot of tentacles to deal with, my friend. You are in trouble. Oh, wow. This is going to be sick. Oh, yeah, it's bedtime for Phil. Wow, this is so fun. All right, there. Get out of here. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna go with 30% opacity is probably good enough. And then we can go over here, we can go 1, 2. Isn't that great? Oh, is such a cool project. What is up with this? I don't think he belongs anywhere. Oh. Okay, did that on purpose. Oh, feel tardy. Yeah, you're not supposed to exist. Thank you. That is yeah. That's so sick. So let's look at. See, I see there's a slight bluishness going on here, a little like it's an off purple maybe, and then that goes into contrast with the mild, very very mild red. So that is low saturation. That's better saturation there. This is very, yeah, it's like. Hopefully that's coming across as like a gunmetal. But I get to use the reference images here. I was using, I'm going to conceal this knotwood for now. This was the base frame that I was using as my reference point. But I wanted to have my own angle to it, so I did my own thing. Yeah, basically the same sort of idea. More pipe work going on here than what I have. But this is like a wooden ship. And that's a lot different from the crystal ship that they also show. So they have these two different formats. So that to me says I've got a lot of freedom of decision. So that's the way that I went with this sort of crystalline folding effect. And then when we go in here and we start building out the here, we'll work on this for a hot second. So freaking cool. Get back in the picture, everybody. I'm gonna collapse all that, open this up. There, there's the highlights there. 1 second. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then I'll be done for the night. Love that. Let's go with grab that. Back to 50. Go back to here. I think this is going to be a viable way of doing this. I'm just smudging stuff around for a while, just to try to get a feel for what can I do with this space, or where do I need to put need to put marks on this thing. So I want to follow that line there to coat this, get it all goopy. Zero. That's the kind of crystalline look I think I'm going for. At least for the wings. I want to try to explore some of that hexagonal work that they've got going on in the one down below. But this feels pretty cool to me. I think I like that. I don't want to oversaturate this thing with geometry. Not in the wings. I want the wings a little bit more etheric. Less machine elf. You know? We'll see. Not 100% satisfied with this yet. Oh, what if they're like sheets? That's kind of cool. Like they grow in waves, you know? So you can have like these frozen, like I can have these frozen wave, like this foam effect as it pushes further out. That's kind of a neat approach. I think I can make that work. I like that. I like that I get to think about how do these crystals grow out of these wings. How do they grow out of the structure of the ship? I think it's fun that I have the opportunity to even put brain cycles towards that. I'm sure there's some 9-armed alien heart-shaped creature someplace saying, "Oh wow, yeah, that's a great idea," and then putting it through a machine and like coming out with an answer. It's like, yeah, we could actually build crystalline wings that way. Put that into production. Build me a copy or two, and we'll put it out in the parking lot and test it out. And then I come out of my machine a lifetime later, and I get the high fives, and there's a cool beer waiting for me. Way done. Well done, boss. You're welcome. I'll be like, I knew there was an answer. We just had to go get it. And like this entire lifetime was spent just so that I get to the point here where I could contemplate crystal structure growth in fantasy insect wings to come up with this wave push effect. Like, oh yeah, we could grow crystals that way. That actually works. Good idea. It's like, that feels like 12 monkeys. Anyway, I'm obviously very, very tired. But I'm liking these visuals we got going on inside here. This is cool. It may end up overwhelming the piece. But it's certainly worth exploring for a little bit. So we'll burn some cycles here. And me being exhausted kind of lets the muse run the show for a few. So I can feel myself I can feel myself winding down. Whew, and that cat's really trying to climb up my neck. So I know that I'm pushing myself someplace. $1:30? Yeah, I made another hour, didn't I? I said I would. No wonder I'm tired. That's what I said I would do. That may end up working out. Sloppiness is coming through again. Yeah, let's keep to the back end. Oh, that's cool. Hmm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Let's try to go past these, see how that feels. There you go, 50%. Utterly disappears. Yeah, not worth it. All right, so that is a failed experiment, I suspect, and I can go with this effect instead. Yeah, that seems consistent. I can definitely use a whiter mark, just not weird like that was. So. I suspect that's gonna work. Yeah, that looks a lot better. All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and just save it there. That's about. I think I can get some sleep now. So I am looking forward to jumping back on tomorrow morning after I get some Z's, and we will be able to. I'm gonna go ahead and close up that reference for now. Super, super cool. Let's grab these things and see how I feel after I pull them around a little bit. I'm doing a markup. I'm using my hand like this, and I'm pressing it. I'm looking at the picture through this way at the proper distance. So I got my pinky here and I got my forefinger here, so I can see how it's breaking the page up into thirds. So I can see that this blade edge here is along this third mark. And then over here, I've got this stuff going on the third mark as well. See? But what about down here? So down here, we're seeing sails and crystal tips. So it's the planet that'll be most interesting down there. Now, if I do it sideways, looking at the picture this way, I've got my center line here from essentially L down to the border, which puts one line about here and the other one about here. So this is a center point, this is a center point, this is a center point, and this is a center point. Those are the points that we know that are going to be most strong in the picture according to the law of thirds. And the law of thirds is that you don't want to have the interesting thing in the dead center of the picture that's too obvious and it's boring. If you want something dynamic, you have to have things like a counterpoint of stuff going on. Like here, we've got the tentacles are gripping the blade. Here, they're still seeking their target. Here, there's a collection of rigging that are starting to clash into each other. Here, we see that the ram is crashing into the wing brace. So just looking at these different counterpoints of how it balances, and once I get these things built, I can go back here into the background. I can futz around with the lighting back here a little bit more to help make these things pop out a bit more, clean up the planet, and do the filigree on the nautiloid. But I am really, really happy with the progress of this picture. This is cool. This is going to be really, really cool. And I think that star moth is absolutely dope. So I'll work on Eberron probably for the most tomorrow, and then I'll probably come back and work on this a little bit just to freshen my eyes on the project before I go back into Eberron. But I'm going to be back probably in about 6 some odd hours, almost 2 here. I'll probably be back on like around 8:30 PST, which will be like 11:30 East time, and then I'll be on for a few hours. There it is. That's what we were looking for. So I'm going to get that nautiloid back on screen, and God, I love this product. Oh shit! I deleted those things, and I totally forgot. I'm so tired. That is horrible. I erased these and I forgot to restore them before I started futzing around with the rest of the picture. Fuck, and then I just saved it, so I can't crash it and unsave it. All right, well, I hard committed to those tentacles doing that like that. Luckily it works. So we're just gonna keep selling forth. I can't believe I did that. Gee, what a crew. But goddamn, this is a great looking picture. I am really, really happy with this project. This is super cool. Man, like, subscribe, check out my books down below for more of this. This is a particularly good piece, though. I am very, very happy with the technical bits of this. And I've never painted Spelljammer. I've only made some ship models, but I've never actually like painted a cover of ships in battle. And it's just, wow, what a victory! I love this. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go to sleep, and I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Cheers.